Larry Holmes, in my opinion, is easily the most underappreciated heavyweight champion of all time. All Larry Holmes ever wanted from the sport of boxing was respect, an appreciation from the fans and sports writers for what he had given the sport of boxing throughout his career. This is a man with 69 wins, 6 losses, 44 wins coming by way of knockout. He held the heavyweight crown for 7 straight years, had 20 successful title defenses, but yet even in 2012, respect still eludes the great Larry Holmes. He's often kept off of everyone's all-time great list. He's been largely forgotten. Now, there's a few reasons for why I believe this has happened to Larry Holmes. One being that he had big shoes to fill. He came after the great Muhammad Ali. Now, Muhammad Ali was so great inside and outside of the ring that the standard for what a heavyweight champion was raised. And Larry Holmes just could not live up to the charisma of Muhammad Ali. He wasn't loved like Ali was loved by the media. He didn't give these great classic interviews that Ali gave to the media. So he was largely ignored by the white media and sports writers, and not liked by most black fans because he didn't talk enough. He didn't get enough attention for them to respect him. So it didn't matter who Larry Holmes beat and how he beat them, respect just eluded this man. So while dominating the heavyweight division, in 1982, there was a young white fighter by the name of Jerry Cooney who was undefeated. Jerry Cooney had just knocked out Jimmy Young, Ron Lyle, Ken Norton, and had a few impressive victories. Now, we all knew that Jerry Cooney is a hype job. You know, he was overrated, you could say. But the media and the promoters turned this fight between Jerry Cooney and Larry Holmes into a race war. See, Jerry Cooney was being billed by Ring Magazine, Boxing Illustrated, and others as the Great White Hope. He was being billed as the second coming of Rocky Marciano. Jerry Cooney could be the first white champion since Rocky Marciano, and people fell in love with that idea. So they played the race card, made this out to be a battle of the races. Winner gets bragging rights, battle for supremacy. Larry Holmes was forced to give Jerry Cooney 50% of the share of this fight, even though he was the heavyweight champion of the world. Even though Jerry Cooney was unproven, he was forced to give this man 50% of the share of this fight. To add insult to injury, Larry Holmes was introduced first in the fight, and Jerry Cooney was treated as the champion, being introduced last. This is the type of racism, blatant racism, that was going on in the sport of boxing. And it shows you the amount of disrespect Larry Holmes had to go through. Larry Holmes disposed of Jerry Cooney, proving that he is the heavyweight champion of the world. But after that, it only got worse for Larry Holmes. Black folks liked him, but he still got no respect from the media. They even hated him more now, because he had destroyed their hopes of the Great White Hope. So as Larry Holmes continued on, racking up victories, he found himself in a position of 48-0 as a heavyweight. And the sports writers started to ask questions. They said, hey, can this guy possibly beat Rocky Marciano's record of 49-0? The pressure built. Sports writers from Ring Magazine, Boxing Illustrated, Sports Illustrated, all spoke against Larry Holmes. None of them wanted to see him break Rocky Marciano's record because Rocky Marciano was their hero. Most of these writers were white, and Marciano being their hero, they wanted to protect his legacy. So Larry Holmes started to rant and rave. He said, listen man, Rocky Marciano couldn't hold my jock strap. He's a bum. He didn't fight nobody. I would dog walk Rocky Marciano. That fueled the fire for the sports writers. That just pissed them off even more. So, in 1985, Larry Holmes faced Michael Spinks, the light heavyweight champion of the world. Larry Holmes being 48-0 on the break of tying Rocky Marciano's 49-0 record. Do I really need to tell you what happened? Larry Holmes, in my opinion, was robbed. He was robbed of that chance of beating Rocky Marciano's record of 49-0 because the media did not want to see that happen. Okay? Boxing has always been a corrupt sport, and Larry Holmes, his record was destroyed and taken from him. The next fighter in this video I'd like to discuss is the great Bernard the Executioner Hopkins. In my opinion, Bernard Hopkins is one of the greatest fighters that ever lived. Many people hate on Bernard Hopkins because of his attitude, his swag. A lot of people just don't understand where he's coming from, but this is a man who came from nothing and had to make something out of his life. It's a man who did time in prison and kept his mind focused on boxing, became a prison boxing champion, and left prison to become one of the greatest fighters that ever lived. This is a man with 56 wins, 6 losses, 32 wins come by way of knockout. He has the most title defenses of any middleweight in history, with 20 title defenses. He's the oldest man to ever hold a championship in boxing. He's the oldest middleweight champion in boxing history. He's the oldest light heavyweight champion in boxing history. Need I really say more about Bernard Hopkins? The next fighter in this video I'd like to discuss is Floyd Mayweather Jr. Floyd Mayweather has a record of 43 wins, 0 losses, and 26 wins coming by way of knockout. He's beaten 18 current or former world champions throughout his career and still going. He's won championships in 5 different weight classes and still going. He holds pay-per-view records for 9 heavyweight pay-per-views, the top 4 spots belonging solely to Floyd Mayweather. This is a man who's generated over $543 million in the sport of boxing. He was ranked by Forbes as the highest paid athlete in 2012, earning over $85 million. Now, with all of that said, as we pay close attention to the history of the black fighter, and we remember everything that they had to go through, being robbed of most of their money, having to fight over and over again every other week to make ends meet, making everyone else rich but themselves. We must understand Floyd Mayweather and why he does what he does. So we may disagree or not understand the choices of Floyd Mayweather, but in my opinion, Floyd Mayweather means justice for the black fighter.